Recently, Singapore saw as many as 3 new express coach operators from Malaysia that launched services to Singapore. The news caught many by surprise as there weren't any new operators for some time since Suasana Edaran Express relaunched Singapore services in March 2024. The first of the 3 operators that opened services to Singapore was Moraza Express. The operator commenced services from Singapore on 30th October 2024 with an overnight service to Kuala Lumpur. Join me on my trip from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur on board Moraza Express. Hi again everyone, welcome to another Jom Naik Bus Trip Report. This is Oxley Bizhub, a new terminus for express coach services to and from Malaysia. Situated at Ubi Industrial Estate, it serves as an alternative to the nearby Grantrol Mall, which is about 5 to 10 minutes walk away. Transtar Express is one of the more prominent operators here, and Moraza Express is the newest to serve Oxley Bizhub. I booked the 7 a.m. service from Oxley Bizhub. I received a WhatsApp message last night from Urban Coach and Transport Service, the appointed ticketing agent in Singapore. Apart from Moraza Express, Urban Coach also represents Suasana Edaran Express and Cosmic Express. The WhatsApp message was to inform me of the specific boarding point as well as the coach number assigned to the trip. UT6446 was assigned, and that comes as no surprise as it is the only coach deployed on the Kuala Lumpur Singapore-Kuala Lumpur service then. The second coach, UG6446, only began operating from 13 December 2024 onwards. UT6446 pulled up at the bus stop along Paya Lebar Road just before 7 a.m. As I boarded the bus, I was greeted by the 2 friendly coach captains. Mr. Zaki is the co-captain for this trip, while Mr. Remy is the one behind the wheel. The bus moved off soon right after as I was the only passenger to board from Oxley Bizhub. No prizes given as to where I'm seated on the bus. The whole point of taking a double-decker bus is to be seated up front, which many of you now know that I call the Gunzel seat. Unlike on many other double-decker coaches, the Gunzel seats on this coach are numbered 4B and 4C. A blanket can also be found on the seat. I made a brief check on EasyBook the night before, just to have a sense of how many passengers will be on this trip to Kuala Lumpur. As of 11 p.m. last night, there were 7 passengers on this trip, including myself. Last-minute bookings are still possible, so we'll see if there are more passengers later. There are 2 other pickup points offered in Singapore, Bugis MRT Exit E and Venture Avenue in Jurong East. The pickup at Bugis MRT Exit E is scheduled at 7:30 a.m., whereas the pickup at Venture Avenue is scheduled at 8:15 a.m. An evening departure is also available and usually departs at about 6 p.m. The bus arrived at Duo Galleria along Fraser Street at about 7:25 a.m. for the pickup from Bugis MRT. There were 3 passengers who boarded here, and by 7:30 a.m., the bus proceeded for the final pickup at Jurong East. It took only about 30 minutes and the bus arrived at Venture Avenue quite early. The last 3 passengers boarded on time and the bus left for Tuas checkpoint at exactly 8:50 a.m. Each passenger was also given a complimentary bottled carbonated drink just before we left Venture Avenue. The journey along Ayer Rajah Expressway or AYE were uneventful and we reached Tuas checkpoint at about 8:35 a.m. A steady line of buses can be seen waiting to enter Tuas checkpoint, which will be the first of 2 immigration and customs check. Singapore's Immigration and Checkpoints Authority or ICA have begun QR code clearance trials for bus passengers at Tuas and Woodlands checkpoints. This trial is an expansion of the QR code clearance, which had already been successfully implemented for those travelling on cars and motorcycles. Full implementation of the QR code clearance at Tuas checkpoint bus halls took effect on 16 December 2024. Rollout of the QR code clearance at Woodlands bus halls should be completed by mid-January 2025. Using the My ICA mobile app to generate the QR code, travellers will just need to scan the QR code on the scanners on the gantry, followed by a biometric verification. Travellers in groups of 4 can also make use of the group QR code. The My ICA mobile app can be downloaded for free at the App Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users. Majority of the autogate lanes were designated for QR code clearance. Using the QR code for the immigration clearance was a breeze as many passengers went for the conventional passport clearance instead. The time savings may not seem much, but those travelling in groups may find the group QR code clearance more efficient than the conventional method. However, as the bulk of the passengers from other buses were still in line to clear immigration, this resulted in many of the buses parked at the boarding berths waiting for the passengers instead. But as there were only 7 passengers for this trip, we didn't have to wait long to depart for Malaysia. We arrived at the Sultan Abu Bakar complex in Johor for the second immigration and customs check at about 9 a.m. The automated clearance system, or better known as the Autogate in Malaysia, has since been expanded to passport holders of more than 60 countries from around the world. A pre-registration via the Malaysia Digital Arrival Card or MDAC is still required for travellers, except those holding Malaysia or Singapore passports. We were held up at the Johor immigration for quite some time, as one of the passengers took longer than usual to clear. I was slightly annoyed, but I have to commend the coach captains who patiently waited for the passenger to return to the bus. For the record, the passenger was not reprimanded. We left Sultan Abu Bakar complex at about 9:40 am, slightly more than half an hour since we reached the checkpoint. For those who are not fans of Ming Ang restaurant in Yong Peng, you'll be pleased to know that this bus will not call at the restaurant. I do not know for sure where the pit stop will be. It could be Pago R&R or any of the laybys. But to add to the element of surprise, I will not be checking with the coach captains where the pit stop is for this trip. Effective Friday, 13 December 2024, Moraza Express will operate twice daily services between Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. On most days of the week, one departure is scheduled in the mornings, while the second departure is scheduled in the evenings. For the most up-to-date schedules, you can log on to EasyBook or RedBus ticketing platforms. From Singapore, the pickup points are at Oxley Bizhub, Bugis MRT Station Exit E and Venture Avenue in Jurong East. In Kuala Lumpur, the bus will call at Terminal Bersepadu Selatan or TBS, as well as Berjaya Times Square. One-way tickets from Singapore starts at 37 Singapore dollars, whereas one-way tickets from Kuala Lumpur starts at 24 Singapore dollars. Tickets can be booked via WhatsApp through its Singapore representative, Urban Coach at 659342-5409 and Moraza Express at 6012-6446-012. Tickets are also available on other platforms such as EasyBook and RedBus. The journey for the first half of this trip were largely uninterrupted. That is, until we reached Yong Peng Selatan exit when traffic came to a standstill. A check on Google Maps showed that congestion stretched for a few kilometers ahead of us, surpassing even Yong Peng Utara exit. I grew extremely anxious as the delay would only mean that I would miss the bus back home later that afternoon. The bus stopped at the Tangkak Lay-by for a short toilet break at about noon. After about 15 minutes, the bus left for the final leg of the journey to Kuala Lumpur. The second coach captain took over for this leg, while the other went for a well-deserved rest. Moraza Express first launched services in 2018 with 5 MAN R40 double-decker coaches plying between Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA, Kuala Lumpur, Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Besut in Terengganu. The route quickly became popular with backpackers as it is a convenient link for those who wish to quickly get to the islands of Redang and Perhentian in Terengganu. In October 2024, the operator embarked on an expansion and launched its first cross-border service into Singapore. It took many by surprise as the operator took a bold step to enter the highly competitive and crowded Singapore-Kuala Lumpur corridor. All of Moraza Express services to Singapore are operated on the 2 units of the Scania K-410EB double-decker coach, registered UG6446 and UT6446. Moraza Express is the first Malaysian operator to deploy the Ark A-20DD double-decker from SHLCoach to Singapore. Coincidentally enough, it is also the longest double-decker coach in service to Singapore at 13 meters long. The chassis code K410EB translates to K, which refers to a centrally mounted longitudinal engine, 410 being the engine output of 410 horsepower, E which indicates that it is a long-distance type chassis, and B indicates that it is a normal bus. It is powered by the 12.7 litres Euro 3 Scania DC13 engine and coupled with the 8-speed Scania OptiCruise automated gear changing system and features an independent front suspension. There are only 2 such coaches operating for Moraza Express and remains unique till date. At 13 meters long, the coach itself is one of the longest in Malaysia. Height is standard at about 4.2 meters and a width of 2.5 meters. The design of the Ark A-20DD model is inspired by cues from the Marco Polo Paradiso G8 double-decker coaches commonly found in South America. With only 38 seats fitted on both decks, you can only imagine how spacious it is in the cabin. There are only 10 seats on the lower deck, with the upper deck fitted with only 28 seats, far less than any other double-deckers currently serving the Singapore-Kuala Lumpur route. The Damrong silk leather recliners are configured in a 2+1 arrangement, equipped with seat belts, high-speed USB chargers, and leg support. The seats can be reclined as much as 135 degrees, allowing elevated comfort levels for passengers. We reached our first stop in Kuala Lumpur at just after 2 p.m. 4 passengers disembarked at Terminal Bersepadu Selatan, Malaysia's first and largest interstate coach terminal. The bus then left TBS for the final drop-off at Berjaya Times Square. Ideally, it should take about 30 minutes to reach the final stop of this journey. But being a Sunday, I anticipated some congestion to occur along the way, and in particular the roads leading to Bukit Bintang. And like I expected, heavy traffic build-up greeted us as the bus pushed slowly along Jalan Kampung Pandan. We finally reached our destination at about 2:45 p.m, concluding our 7-hour and 45 minutes journey from Singapore. The delay at the Johor checkpoint and the congestion near Yong Peng contributed significantly to the unfortunately late arrival at Berjaya Times Square. Nonetheless, I thoroughly enjoyed the trip on board Moraza Express. I appreciate the outstanding spaciousness in the cabin, something that is not commonly seen on regular executive double-decker coaches here. The blanket and complimentary bottled drink were also a plus, considering the ticket price. Both the coach captains also displayed superb service throughout the journey. Looking forward to the next expansion in Singapore that is planned for 2025. This has been another trip report on Jom Naik Bus. I'm Ishak signing off, and I see you in the next video. Bye!